Hey, Katrina here from Scrappy Horses. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today, I'm going to share with you a video that is part of a 2-video series on this card. The other video, which is linked below, covers how to do the masking on this stamp right here from Connie Fong, as well as the assembly of the card. So you get to see me working at my craft desk as well as working in Cricut Design Space. So if you're interested in those two topics, that video is linked below. You can find it below. This video will actually show you how I designed this card shape and how I got the different layers to work together. So I thought it would be fun to work with all 3 shapes so that if you want to try this, you'll have access to them. But I will show you what I used on my card in case you're interested in duplicating this look. I used flower cuts from Wildcard, a score, which is in your shapes over here, a free square, which is also in shapes, and I use this particular heart shape from a collection called Hearts. So let's go over to a clean mat here in Design Space, and let's just start from scratch and design this project. Okay, here we are on a clean mat, and we're going to start by bringing in a square. So we come over here to Shapes and pull in a square. And I'd like for this square to measure 5 by 5. So all I need to do is come up here to this top panel and just type in 1.5 because I have it locked, so it's going to stay a square shape. And just left click my square, and now I have that. Now I would like a second square. So there are 2 ways I can do this. I can either type in Command C, Command V as in Victor, and that'll give me one. Or I can just, it's already selected, I can come over here and hit duplicate, and that will give me a 5 by 5 square. Now I'm going to come over and I'm going to pick up a heart shape. So I'm coming back to shapes. I'm going to, just so it's easy to see this heart for this demo, I'm going to change the color. You do not need to change the color. I'm just doing it to make it easy to see. And I'm going to make it bigger. Okay. Now, this is something you'll just sort of have to play with to get it to the shape that you like. All right. You could have a shape that looks like this. I personally think that this would be too narrow at the bottom. So what I did is I went ahead and I unlocked it and I just sort of played with this. All right. And then I sort of twisted it around like so. All right, which, you know, you can just sort of twist as much as you like. And that's going to change the shape of what this looks like, and it's going to change the width of what's below. If I bring this square to the front, that's how much width you're going to have on the bottom. Okay? I'm not worried about this right here. I'll show you how to fix that. Okay? So what I'm going to do now is I am going to fix that. I'm going to bring in another square. So I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to, I'm just going to do this by hand. All right, so I'm going to unlock, push it in more narrow, and pull it longer. All right, and I'm just going to stack it up right here and line it up with my square best as I can. Okay, I'm going to pull my square out. Now I'm going to select this rectangle and this heart, and I'm going to weld them together. Now I'm bringing this piece in And I'm just simply going to line it up at the, even with this edge right here. So I've got this edge right here and this edge right here even. I select both by left clicking, dragging over. And now over here on the right side at the very bottom, you have a slice feature. Sliced away is the exact shape we want right there. Isn't that cool? While I've got this piece here, if we go back and we look at the card front, you'll notice that there are 2 layers there. So let's go ahead and create those 2 layers. The way we're going to do that is we'll choose this piece that we have left over, and we're just going to choose the offset feature, but we're going to go to more of an inset feature. All right, so we're going to go backwards. All right. So let's go to about minus 0.125. Apply. Let's change the color on that. We'll just make it this yellow for a second. That will be what goes right on top. Now, I have 2 layers because I have the layer there, and then I have a layer that I wanted to use to have my actual stamp on. So we just do the same thing again. We choose this one, offset, and I want to go maybe not quite that much, maybe more like right there. 0.097 will be fine. But you can play with that. And again, if you want to move just little itty bitty bits, use your arrow on your keyboard and that will change it. All right. So there's a 0.069. Let's do that one. Apply. And that's going to be white because that's going to have our stamped image. And there are those pieces. Okay, that's how easy that is. All right. Now we have the fun part. We get to figure out what the alignment of our subject matter is going to be. Like I said, this could be stars, it could be flowers, it could be circles, bubbles, hearts. It could be anything. All right. So for right now, I'm going to nudge this up, line it up at the, just to make it easy, let's nudge them right up to the 5 mark. I want to make sure these are exactly even. So I'm going to select them both together, move them to the 1 inch mark by the 5 inch mark, or as close as I can. And I'm going to align these 2 pieces at the top. I'm going to double check, make sure they're both 5 inches in height. All right, and they are. So these should be lined up pretty perfectly at this point. Now I can always make my mat a little bit larger if I need to. I'm going to go ahead and arrow those up 1. That's pretty close. Now I'm going to move it just slightly to the left. All right, that's pretty close. I'm going to leave it there. I know that this is set in at the 1 inch mark. So now I'm going to come back. I know that this can extend out to the 11 inch mark. So I'm just going to bring this in and set it here as a guide. All right. So I know that my subjects, whether they be flowers, stars, moons, hearts, whatever they are, can go out to this point. I can still fold this at 5 inches and still have a 5 by 5 card. Let's bring in some flowers. I told you that everything we're going to use today is going to be free. So we go to Images over in this panel, left click, type in free flowers, and up come an assortment of free flowers. I'm going to choose this one, add to canvas. And again, it's free. And we're going to need quite a few of these. So again, we can either do on our keyboard a Command C, Command V as in Victor, or you can just choose this by left clicking and hit duplicate. I'm going to duplicate several just so we have them here to work with. And if we need more, we can add more. So again, I know that my border is here, here, here. As long as my flowers fit within there, I'm fine. So let's go ahead and put one here because I'd like it to be able to stand up, right? So I want it to hit as close to this as I can. And again, I can select these two and I can align bottom. And now it's right there even with that. Okay, nice and easy. Okay, now let's choose one maybe a little bit larger to go at the top here and extend off a little ways. And then maybe a little itty bitty guy sticking off of there just for fun. And a medium-sized one coming off. And maybe I'd like him to extend out a little more. And you can play with this as much as you like. And let's see, maybe he'd like somebody joining him in like this. The idea is to sort of get a variety so that they look sort of just like little flower clusters hanging out here. Maybe just a little guy. Maybe we'll make him a little smaller. He can just kind of hang out here. That's a pretty big cluster. Let's let him hang out with this guy. And maybe one coming off here. And a little tiny guy filling up this space. All right. So this does not look exactly like my original, and that's okay. It's a little different. Let's align your bottoms here. Let's take these two guys and align the top. All right. Now, you're thinking, well, this is all good, well, and fine, but, you know, we have this big hole here. That's okay. All we need to do is bring in this piece that we had left over. We're choosing these three. 1, 2, 3 pieces. You might want to double check and make sure that everything is height of 5. Height of 5, height of 5. And they are. So now we're going to choose it. We're going to align it, again, top or bottom, it doesn't matter. Now we're going to select the entire card base. All the flowers, everything. So I'm just left clicking. I come way up here so that I know I'm going to catch everything. And I'm going to come over to my right-hand panel here, see where it says weld. And there it is. My card is welded together now. Because we set this up at 1 and we set it up here, I know that my score line is going to go in at 6. So I come over to shapes, pull my score line, bring that into 6. And I can leave it just a little bit above here. Pull it down. Again, if I feel like I'm just slightly off, I can use my arrow on my keyboard. There's my score line. Before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and change this color from this to, let's just make it a light blue for right now. Okay. And I select this card base along with my score line. I come over here and I hit attach. And now let's take a look at what we have. We have our card base. And we have these 2 pieces that are going to fit on the front here. Okay, so now we have all of this done. Now this piece is going to possibly print and cut if you've added a stamped image. And let's say you want to do this. Let's say that you love what you've come up with and you don't want to experiment. You want to actually make this. So let's say you want to add an image to this. Okay, let's go back to images. And we have a flower theme going on. So again, let's type in free flower. And let's see what we have. Let's see, we have this. You know, I got an idea. Let's pull this and this. All right. And let's go ahead and put this here. And let's, I'm working on the fly here, so this might not be wonderful, but let's see what we can do. All right. You know what you could do is you could print the stems and leaves, and you could keep this as a cut and glue them on if you wanted. All right, so let's duplicate that again. Let's move it over here. Let's go ahead and change this to a dark blue image, okay? And we're going to change this one to a yellow, a bright yellow. Okay, so now we have a little image here that will go along with our card cut. There are a couple of different ways you might want to approach this. You could just simply select everything and flatten it. And it would print it just like that. And there it would sit on top of your card. If you wanted a little more dimension, what you could do is you could pull these guys off, go ahead and flatten that, cut these separately, okay, like that, and have these as little die cuts on top. And that kind of gives you an idea of what that would look like then. All right. Then you could add some jewels to these flowers. And if you wanted to, you could even put something like thinking of you or something like that. So that's just an idea of what you could do with this if you wanted to go ahead and go beyond experimenting and finish out the card. All right. Well, I hope you've had a great time with me today, learning how to design a card. Again, you could use any shape you like, and this would be appropriate for many different occasions. I think I might like to do something with maybe a little more rugged shape on the side for a guy. So I might think about that and see what I can come up with. So again, if you're unsure as how to assemble this, then please check out the video below, and that will give you all the directions and ideas for that. And if you're wondering how to mask a stamp, that information is also in the video below. All right, any questions or comments, please leave them in the box below. Have a wonderful, wonderful week, and I'll catch up with you in the next video. Bye.